What's up, guys? I am back for another day of mastering Google Ads, $100 million leads. Surely, we're getting very close to finishing paid ads and $100 million leads, which is what I came here for. My allergies are kind of acting up, but we'll do this video anyway. I love saying stuff like that. No, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. All right. So, what did we do yesterday? I think we read about phase 2 and 3 in. I think we read phase 2 and 3 in $100 million leads. Phase 2 and 3 of. Thinking. 100 phase. Well, there's 3 phases. 3 phases of a question. It was 3 phases of running paid ads. No, scaling paid ads. 3 phases of scaling paid ads. Check that out. That was difficult to retrieve, yet we got it. So I read phase 2 and 3 of scaling paid ads. Phase 1, just as context background, is track everything. Phase 2, lose money. Phase 3, print money. Okay. So phase 2 is lose money, and he kind of was joking around saying lose money, but at the same time he wasn't joking, because literally by the definition of how these things work, you will lose money when you start running paid ads, no matter what, because you will always have to pay money to run paid ads before you get any leads or any purchases, right? So no matter what, you'll lose money. Sometimes you'll lose a lot of money at first. In fact, Hormozy has across his career, the number of paid ads that he's had that lost him money outnumbers the number of paid ads that have made him money. But you're like, what? Well, why would we run paid ads and lose money? Hold on. I said number of paid ads that he's lost money on is greater than the number that he's made on. Not how much money he's made, though, right? The amount of money he's made on these few winners has made up for all the losers and a lot more. And here's how he does it. So you send out a batch of ads, right? Most of them are going to lose. You have to expect most of them are going to be losers. But a few will be winners, maybe just one. You take that winner and you just give it a ton of money. You double it, the ad spend, or you triple, or you quadruple, or you 10x, or 100x, or 1,000x the amount of ad spend it's getting. And then that makes all the money back, right? If you have a winner and then you scale it. Okay. He said that it can take up to a year or more to find the winners. That's kind of rare. It can be a lot faster, but don't expect it to be easy and fast. If it was easy and fast, everyone would do it and everybody would be just printing money, right? You're investing in building an asset that prints money, so expect it to be difficult and take a long time and take effort. So then he gets into like more technicalities, like how much should you spend to test ads, right? Because at first you're just testing them to find the winners. How much money should you spend to test these ads? Because you want to strike a balance between spending too little, not getting enough data, not letting them run long enough, and letting them run too long and wasting money. So he's kind of said he's found the sweet spot at two times the profit collected in month 1. Okay. So if signing a new client brings you $1,000 in revenue in month 1 and it's 50% margin, so you got 50% gross profit in 30 days. Gross profit, that is. Well, then you 2x it, so you're going to spend $1,000 on this ad to test or any ad to test. Assuming it's getting leads. If it gets 0 leads or 0 purchases, I guess this is specifically about leads. So if it gets 0 leads, then he cuts it off just before it reaches 1x of the monthly gross profit. Okay? Cool. Phase 2. Phase 3, print money, right? You've got winning ads, you've tested them, you found the winners, now you're scaling them. How much do you give the ads? How much do you spend? What's your ad spend? And he's like, well, instead of looking at daily spend or monthly spend, he reverse engineers it. It starts with how many people do I want, or how many people can I handle? All right. And then you say, I can handle 10 new clients this month. Okay. If you can handle 10 new clients this month, and the customer acquisition cost, that is how much it costs you total to acquire a new customer, is $1,000. Okay. Okay. Then it's going to cost you $10,000 to acquire 10 new clients this month. And so you take that 10,000, and he also puts a 20% buffer in there for losing some efficiency as you scale ads. So 20% buffer on 10K, now you're at 12,000. 12,000 is your ad spend, monthly ad spend divided by 30. You're at a $400 a day daily ad spend. He kind of notes that, yes, that might sound like a lot, and it probably sounds scary. And that's why most people don't scale, because it's scary. It's you got to face the fear and trust the data and trust the system. And I think that's everything we got to. Let's ensure that I've got everything. Yep. For investing in an advertising machine. Yep. Okay. Yep. Cool. Got everything. Now we're going to start the next question. There was 4 questions that this chapter addresses. The first was scaling, like how to scale paid ads. Now we're going to address the question, how to know if you're doing well. How well am I doing? So this is how you, the benchmarks and the KPIs and everything like that. So I'm going to start reading this, and when I get to a good stopping place, I will recall from there. Let's do it. Really great stuff here. Really great stuff, guys. So this section is all about how do you know if you're doing well? So the most basic answer, right? Your ads are making you more money than you're losing. Specifically, they're making more profit than the cost of running the ads, right? So really, you got to look at 2 things to know if your ads are making you money or they're losing money. The first thing is called lifetime gross profit, okay? So to understand what lifetime gross profit is, first you want to know what gross profit is. And gross profit is essentially revenue minus the cost to deliver the service or the cost of the product itself, right? Revenue minus cost of delivery, essentially, to keep it simple. And so lifetime gross profit is the total amount of gross profit brought in by a single customer. So if that averages out to be the average customer purchased from you 5 times, they purchase a $100 thing, and it's a $50 cost to deliver the good or service. So it's a $50 profit margin, right? That's the gross profit. So every purchase results in $50 gross profit, and on average, your average customer purchases 5 times over a lifetime. Well, there you go, $250 of lifetime gross profit. And so that's, first of all, gross profit, like that is the fuel of the business. That's the money that the business uses to hire people, to pay rent, admit, like all the other stuff, admin fees and legal fees, and all this stuff is what, even taxes, gross revenue is paying for all that stuff. Okay, so gross revenue is really important. Lifetime gross revenue, or gross profit, right? Gross profit's really important. Lifetime gross profit, that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to know is called customer acquisition cost, CAC, CAC, LTV, or LTGV, lifetime gross LTGP, lifetime gross profit. He uses LTGP instead of LTV lifetime value, which is basically lifetime revenue, which lifetime value is not it's not a great metric. Gross profit's a much better, more accurate metric, right? Because you can have a ton of revenue being generated but very little profit. So it looks like a customer's worth $1 million lifetime value, but it's 99.9% cost of delivery. So you're only making $1,000, something like that, $1,000 per, no, $100, 99.9, doesn't matter. Okay, you're making a tiny little amount of money. Okay, CAC, customer acquisition cost. This is how much it costs you to acquire a new client through advertising, through the ad. So say you you got a $50 cost per lead, and then you got a 50% show up rate, so you're paying $100 per show up, and then say you have a 50% close rate, so your customer acquisition cost is then $200. And so you're looking at the ratio of lifetime gross profit compared to the customer acquisition cost, right? If you have a greater lifetime gross profit than customer acquisition cost, your ads are profitable. Congratulations, if your numbers are accurate. But theoretically, yes, that's the definition. If they're equal, you're making no money. If customer acquisition cost is greater than lifetime gross profit, your ads are losing you money, right? And so now we get in a little bit more advanced benchmark or metric, and he's saying, okay, so you just need more lifetime gross profit, then you got CAC, your ads are profitable, congratulations. What's a good ratio to shoot for? And he basically said, every company that he's observed, so it's not a rule, it's just what he's observed, is that every company that struggled to grow and scale, or is currently struggling to grow to scale, every one he's observed has had a lifetime gross profit to CAC ratio of less than 3. Okay? Once they've gotten to 3 or above, they start to grow, right? So this is a key ratio for scaling a business. Okay? All right. Is that everything? Gosh, I'm getting I don't know if it's a headache or what. Cool. Okay. Shooting for 3 to 1 or greater ratio. 3 or greater to 1. Lifetime gross profit to CAC. Okay, now I'm gonna read. We've got 5 more minutes. I'm gonna read a little bit more, and then I'll get back to you, and then we'll call it a day. I'll talk to you in a second. Wrapping up today. All right, so you got 2 levers to improve your lifetime gross profit to CAC ratio. Could you guess what they are? Yep. No, you got it wrong. Actually, it's lifetime gross profit and CAC. Okay, that might have been a little confusing. The 2 levers you have to improve the lifetime gross profit to CAC ratio is lifetime gross profit and CAC. Okay, there we go. Simple. How do you improve CAC? More efficient ads, baby. We've already been learning how to do that with the hooks, the testing of the hooks, the call out in the value section, or the value section, and then the call to action section, right? But really, largely like the hooks to get their attention, and the value section, and then clear call to action. And a lot of testing, and a lot of looking at competitors and testing off their information and their tactics. Cool. How do you improve? So that's how you lower CAC. How do you increase lifetime gross profit? You have better business model, simply. Just business model in general. How much you charge, the value of your product, how much you collect from your customers, essentially, how much they're worth to you. Okay. One surprising thing he said was, okay, before that, there was he used two extreme examples for this model, or this mental model of lifetime gross profit to CAC. Yeah, I guess it's not even about ratio necessarily in these examples in the extreme, but he's kind of just lifetime. First of all, he says pull both levers, decrease CAC and increase lifetime gross profit. But I think he's saying lifetime gross profit's more important and higher leverage because, for example, if you made $1 billion off a client, you can afford to for the CAC to be $999 million, and you'll still make $1 million at the end of the day. However, if the money you make from a customer is a penny, if that lifetime gross profit of a customer is a penny, well, no matter how good your ads are, you're not going to make money. Okay. So the difference between the winners and losers in industries, because surprisingly, the CAC between competitors in the industry is closer than you think. He made a big point of that. It's much closer than you think. The difference between the winners and losers in industry is not the CAC, it's how much they make from each customer. And that's the lifetime gross profit, baby. So maybe that's what he's illustrating. Just writing, maybe illustrating that lifetime gross profit is more important than CAC. Okay, folks. That's how we do it. How much? We got to be getting close now. We're on page 153. Yep, we have 6 pages left, and then the end training, bonus training. Wow. Have we mastered paid ads? No, but I would say we are pretty far advanced now, considering we're running I'm a co-owner of a profitable marketing agency that does paid ads. I'm devouring this. I've read his $100 million offers 3 times. I'm really focusing on paid ads. We're making money on Google ads. We're making money on Meta ads. But so much more to learn. Technicals. This is kind of big picture stuff. This is less so specific technicalities of Google ads, but this is, I think, more important, is to know how to actually advertise, the psychology, the structure of good ads, than the actual technicalities of Google ads. I think this is more important to get first. All right. That's it. I'll talk to you guys later.